My friends, to see what others do not see is both a gift and a burden. Vision beyond the ordinary is not merely eyesight. It is insight, piercing through the veil of illusions to the deeper truth that hides beneath the surface of life. But beware, with such vision comes danger. The collective mind resists what challenges its comfort. Those who see differently are often cast out, ridiculed, or misunderstood. Yet this path, the path of the seer, is the path of individuation, the becoming of your true self. To see what others cannot is not merely a privilege. It is a weight upon the soul. When your eyes pierce the veil of illusions that comfort the many, you discover truths that unsettle the heart. The ordinary world is built on shared blindness, on agreements never questioned, on shadows mistaken for reality. To step outside of this shared dream is to feel the cold air of loneliness. You begin to notice the lies hidden in words, the fear behind laughter, the pain beneath the masks people wear. And when you try to speak of what you see, many turn away, for they would rather not be disturbed. This burden of vision is heavy because it demands responsibility. You cannot unsee what has been revealed to you. You cannot return to ignorance once truth has entered your consciousness. It will haunt you, compel you, and at times make you wish you could close your eyes like everyone else. Yet this burden is also your calling, for the world depends on the few who dare to see beyond appearances, even if it costs them belonging, comfort, or approval. The courage of solitude is not the mere act of being alone. It is the willingness to face the silence within yourself without distraction or escape. Most people fear solitude because, in the absence of noise, they are confronted with their own unhealed wounds, their own unanswered questions, their own shadows whispering from the depths. To choose solitude consciously is to walk into that inner wilderness and to stand unflinching before the truth of your own being. It requires strength, because the human soul craves belonging, and to step apart from the crowd is to feel the ache of separation. Yet solitude is also the crucible where transformation occurs. It is in the stillness that your true voice begins to speak, unshaped by the demands of the outer world. It is there that clarity is born, where the fragments of your scattered self come together in wholeness. In solitude, you are tested by doubt, haunted by loneliness, and tempted by the comfort of conformity. But if you endure, you emerge with a strength unshakable, a vision untouchable. For the one who has learned to stand alone has discovered the deepest source of power, the self that no external force can diminish. The mirror of shadow is perhaps the most unsettling encounter a person can face, for it does not reflect the image you wish to see. It reveals the truths you have long denied. Every human being carries within them a hidden side, a reservoir of impulses, fears, and unacknowledged desires. The shadow does not lie, it is brutally honest. When you dare to look into this mirror, you are confronted with the parts of yourself you would rather disown. The anger you repress, the envy you disguise, the weakness you cover with pride. Most people project their shadow onto others, condemning in the outside world what they cannot accept within themselves. They point fingers, judge, and create enemies, never realizing they are fighting with their own reflection. But the visionary, the one who dares to see what others do not, must first look inward. You cannot carry the burden of true vision if you have not faced your own darkness. To integrate the shadow is not to indulge it, but to recognize its power and redirect it toward wholeness. This act of confrontation, a strange alchemy, occurs. The very traits that once threatened to destroy you can become the sources of your greatest strength. Anger can be transmuted into courage, envy into aspiration, fear into wisdom. The mirror of shadow teaches us that the path to light always passes through darkness. Only by embracing the shadow do you claim the fullness of who you are. And only then can you see others not with judgment, but with compassion. The fire of truth is not gentle, it does not whisper comfort or soothe the soul with illusions. It comes like a blaze, searing away falsehoods and consuming the fragile structures we build to protect ourselves from reality. To carry the fire of truth is to carry something dangerous, for once it ignites within you, it spares nothing. It burns through your excuses, your pretenses, your carefully crafted masks, leaving only the raw essence of who you are. Most people fear this fire, for truth demands sacrifice. It strips away the security of conformity and the ease of ignorance. When you dare to speak it, you may find that others recoil. Because truth unsettles the lies they live by. It challenges their comfort, and in doing so, it exposes their own shadow. The bearer of truth often becomes an exile, not because the truth is false, but because it is unbearable to those who have not yet awakened. And yet, the fire of truth is also light. It illuminates the path forward. It warms those who have the courage to draw near. It transforms the one who carries it, refining them in the crucible of honesty until they become unshakable. To walk with truth is to be both feared and needed, rejected and revered. You will be tested by its intensity, but if you endure, you become a torchbearer in a world drowning in darkness. The fire of truth is not meant to destroy, though it destroys illusions. It is meant to purify. To live in truth is to live in freedom, for no chain is heavier than the one forged by lies. And though this fire may isolate you, it also crowns you with authenticity, the highest form of power a human soul can claim. The trial of rejection is one of the hardest crucibles for the soul, for it strikes at our most primal need, the need to belong. From childhood, we are conditioned to seek acceptance, to be embraced by family, friends, and society. But when you begin to see what others do not, when you speak truths that disrupt the comfort of the crowd, you will inevitably meet resistance. Rejection will come, not always in shouts, but often in silence, in the averted gaze, the subtle exclusion, the quiet dismissal of your voice. This trial cuts deeply because it awakens the ancient fear of abandonment, the sense that to be cast out is to be unworthy of love. Many cannot endure this weight, and so they bury their vision, conform to the collective, and silence their truth for the sake of approval. But to betray your sight, in order to be accepted, is to reject yourself at the deepest level. And no outer embrace can heal the wound of inner betrayal. To endure rejection requires immense courage. It is to stand in the storm of disapproval and yet remain loyal to your own soul. It is to understand that rejection is not always a verdict on your worth, but often a reflection of another's fear. People fear what threatens their illusions, and so they turn against the one who exposes them. This is not your failure, it is their defense. And yet, hidden within rejection is a gift. It frees you from dependency on the crowd. When you no longer live for their approval, you begin to live from a deeper source, yourself. Rejection, painful as it is, purifies. It teaches you to stand alone, and in doing so, it makes your voice stronger, your vision clearer, and your path more authentic. The responsibility of insight is far greater than the thrill of discovery. To see what others cannot is not simply a matter of perception, it is a sacred duty. Vision is not given to inflate the ego, nor to separate the seer from the crowd in pride. It is entrusted to you because the world needs light in its darkest corners, and light requires a bearer. When truth is revealed to your inner eye, you cannot claim ignorance any longer. To ignore it, to misuse it, or to wield it for selfish ends, is to betray both yourself and the very source from which that insight came. Knowledge carries weight, it can liberate, but it can also wound. A word spoken at the wrong time can crush a soul, a truth shared without compassion can destroy rather than heal. Thus, insight demands discernment, the wisdom to know when to speak, when to remain silent, and how to guide without forcing. You are not called to dominate others with what you see, but to illuminate their path so they may find their own way to sight. This responsibility is heavy because it demands integrity. The visionary must live in alignment with their vision, otherwise, their words ring hollow. To see clearly and yet live falsely is to fracture the soul, to turn sight into hypocrisy. But when you embody what you have seen, when your actions mirror your insight, your very presence becomes a teaching, a silent force that awakens others without coercion. The responsibility of insight is ultimately an act of service. You carry what you see not to elevate yourself above others, but to serve the greater unfolding of truth in the world. And though many may resist, mock, or reject your vision, there will always be a few whose lives are changed because you had the courage not only to see, but to carry responsibly what was revealed. The Call of Archetypes is the ancient summons of the soul, echoing from depths far older than your individual life. Within each of us, timeless patterns stir: hero, sage, rebel, healer, creator, forms of energy that shape the stories of humanity itself. When you begin to see what others do not, it is not merely your personal vision awakening, but the archetypal forces of the collective unconscious rising through you, seeking expression. These are not just ideas, they are living symbols, currents of power that demand recognition and embodiment. To hear this call is to realize that your life is not a random accident. You are being invited into a myth far greater than yourself. Perhaps you feel the fire of the warrior, urging you to confront injustice, or the wisdom of the sage, compelling you to search for hidden truths, or the compassion of the healer, drawing you toward the suffering of others. Whatever the archetype, it calls you not to comfort, but to transformation, to step into a role that carries both burden and destiny. Yet this call is not without danger. Archetypes are vast energies, and if you resist them, they can turn destructive. The hero unheeded becomes the martyr. The rebel denied becomes the saboteur. The healer ignored becomes the victim. To refuse the call is to fracture within, to live half alive, haunted by a destiny you have not embraced. But to accept the call is to enter the path of individuation, the unfolding of your fullest self. The archetypes do not ask you to mimic them, they ask you to embody them in your own unique form. You are not called to be a copy of ancient figures, but to allow their timeless energy to flow through your individuality. In this way, your life becomes both deeply personal and profoundly universal. You walk not only as yourself, but as a bearer of humanity's oldest stories, carrying their wisdom into the present moment. The Call of Archetypes is the reminder that you are more than a solitary individual. You are a vessel of the collective soul, chosen to give shape to truths that transcend time. To answer that call is to step into your destiny, to become a living symbol of what humanity can be. The dance with madness is the inevitable risk of the one who sees too deeply, for to pierce beyond the surface of reality is to enter realms where the ordinary mind feels unsteady, where the familiar dissolves, and where certainty crumbles into chaos. Many who glimpse such depths fear they are losing their sanity, for the truths of the unconscious are not bound by logic. They arrive in symbols, in paradoxes, in visions that defy the rigid order of the rational world. To walk this path is to balance on the thin edge between revelation and destruction. Madness tempts the visionary because insight can isolate. When others cannot understand what you perceive, when your words are dismissed as strange or threatening, loneliness grows heavy. The temptation is either to silence yourself entirely or to lose yourself in the flood of inner images, abandoning the anchor of the outer world. But here lies the delicate art to dance with madness without being consumed by it, to let its fire inspire you without allowing it to burn you down. Great vision always carries a touch of madness, for it refuses to conform to the narrow limits of convention. The prophets, the poets, the dreamers, the seers, all have been accused of insanity because they dared to give voice to what lay beyond the collective imagination. Yet it is often the so-called mad who plant the seeds of transformation, who reveal truths that only later are recognized as wisdom. The task, then, is not to banish madness but to befriend it, to honor its raw power without surrendering to its chaos. You must root yourself in the soil of the self, grounded in inner wholeness, even as you explore the outer reaches of vision. To dance with madness is to move with the energies that others fear, to navigate storms of thought and feeling, and to emerge not shattered but expanded. It is a dangerous dance, yes, but it is also the birthplace of genius, creativity, and spiritual awakening. For without a brush with madness, the human soul would never break free of the prison of conformity. The visionary who learns this dance becomes a bridge between chaos and order, between the unconscious and the conscious, between madness and meaning. The path of transformation is not a straight road nor a gentle climb. It is a labyrinth that winds through valleys of despair and mountains of awakening. To see what others do not is not simply to possess knowledge, it is to be called into a process that changes you at the deepest level of being. Transformation is never comfortable, for it demands the death of the old self, the shattering of illusions, and the surrender of all that no longer serves your unfolding soul. At first, This path may feel like a curse. You lose the familiar ground beneath your feet. Friends and family may not understand you. The life you once lived becomes too small for who you are becoming. It is as if the universe itself conspires to strip you bare, to take away every false identity until only your essence remains. Yet what feels like destruction is in truth initiation. You are being reborn, though the birth pains are fierce. Transformation is not a single moment, but a series of deaths and resurrections. Again and again, you will be broken open, and again you will rise. Each trial, each loss, each rejection carves away the inessential, shaping you into a vessel strong enough to carry your vision. The path asks for patience, for surrender, and for faith in the unseen. It asks you to trust that even in your darkest night, a deeper self is guiding your steps. Those who resist transformation cling to the comfort of the known and remain trapped in cycles of repetition. But those who dare to walk through fire, who embrace the storms instead of fleeing from them, discover a power that cannot be taken away. For transformation does not merely change what you do, it changes what you are. It awakens within you the realization that you are more than your roles, your fears, or your wounds. You are the self, vast and inexhaustible, unfolding through every challenge. The path of transformation is the journey from limitation to freedom, from illusion to truth, from fragmentation to wholeness. It is dangerous, yes, but it is also the only path worth walking. For through it, you not only become yourself, you become a light that shows others the way through their own darkness. The destiny of the seer is not chosen in comfort, it is forged in fire. To see what others cannot is not simply a talent, but a calling that reshapes the entire course of a life. The seer is set apart, often unwillingly, driven into solitude, rejection, and misunderstanding, yet always compelled to follow the light that burns within. This destiny is heavy, for it requires walking where few dare to tread, carrying truths that unsettle, and enduring the loneliness of being a voice in the wilderness. Yet the seer's destiny is also sacred. What is revealed to you is not given for you alone. It is given so that you may serve as a bridge between the unseen and the seen, between the unconscious and the conscious, between the eternal and the fleeting. You are tasked with holding a vision that others cannot yet perceive, planting seeds of awareness in soil that may at first reject them. The world may resist, but still it hungers for what you carry, even if it does not yet know it. The seer's life is often marked by paradox, revered and feared, embraced and exiled, loved for their wisdom yet despised for their clarity. But this tension is not a punishment, it is the very mark of destiny. For only through walking between worlds can the seer reveal what lies hidden in both. You are asked to bear both the pain and the privilege of sight, to endure misunderstanding, yet remain faithful to the vision entrusted to you. The true destiny of the seer is not recognition, nor glory, nor even acceptance. It is transformation, both of self and of the collective. By daring to live what you see, you become a living symbol, a guiding flame for those who are still blind. Your words may be ignored in your lifetime, yet they may awaken generations to come. For history has always been shaped not by the many who followed, but by the few who saw. The destiny of the seer, then, is both burden and gift, to stand at the edge of the known, to glimpse the vastness beyond, and to carry that vision back into a world desperate for light. And though the path is lonely, though it demands sacrifice, it is the path of truth. To walk it is to fulfill the deepest calling of the soul, to become the eyes of humanity, and to remind the blind that they too were born to see. So I tell you, do not fear your sight. Do not extinguish your inner vision for the comfort of belonging. The world may not be ready now, but it needs you, and perhaps, one day, those who mocked your vision will follow its light.